weekend I was asked by a client who popped in what I thought or what we thought was going to happen to the sort of supercar, high-end prestige car market when all these electric cars start hitting the streets. And I think we're all of the same sort of opinion that you will be able to buy specialist cars, supercars, sports cars, and they'll be quite a good place for your money. Some cars better than others. Something that we've decided to choose out of the lot was this yellow C4S. The reason why we've chosen it, well, there's a few reasons why. The first is the car is a manual. As soon as we get into these electric cars, they will all be automatics, which is a little bit sad for some. I personally don't mind driving an automatic. I think a lot of people go on about the fact they're not as engaging. You don't feel like you're as involved. But I think with a lot of these modern gearboxes, in all fairness, they're pretty good. But this one is a manual, so you've got 3 pedals, manual gearbox. It's got rev matching, so as you're pulling down the gears, you get a rev match, you get a little throttle blip, which is quite cool. The car in yellow is quite an outlandish colour for a 911. Most 911 owners are usually a little bit more conservative, hence why they're buying the 911, not a Ferrari or a Lambo or a McLaren. So they tend to be blacks, greys, silver. So to find a C4 in yellow is quite rare. It's a great looking car. It's got a panoramic roof. So in terms of specification, it's got all the bits that you would want. So a car to add perhaps either to a collection, which you could still use. It's not done 100 miles like some cars in collections have. So you could continue to use the car, and it just wouldn't be a bad place to have your money. When I first started out my career, like a lot of people in the UK, I thought that Porsches were, if I'm honest, a little bit boring. They were very, very German. I worked with a German manufacturer. I worked at BMW for a long time. And I saw Porsche and BMW being very, very similar. As I got older, I realised that what you actually want out of a nice car, sports car, or a supercar is build quality. You want engineering. You want them to be put together properly so you can use them. Some manufacturers are better than others at this. Porsche, I would probably say, are at the top of the tree. For build quality, for yearly running costs, these things are absolutely superb. As an example, they only need servicing every 2 years, which for a car with this level of performance, I would say is very, very impressive. The servicing costs isn't too prohibitive. They don't cost a fortune. It is a Porsche though, so tyres, brakes, things like that are still going to be expensive, but I think you'd be surprised as to what you can actually run something like this for. And then in terms of build quality and engineering, there are very few things that do actually go wrong with 911s. Obviously, they are a machine. Machines still do break down. You still need to care for it. But I think out of a lot of manufacturers, Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, Porsches are really quite up there. In terms of driving, again, as I've gotten older, I've really begun to respect Porsches, especially the 911, more and more and more. The entire range from C2 up to GT2 RS, they're all incredible in their own different way. The C4 gives you that extra little bit of footing. You've got 4-wheel drive. Some complain that the steering is a little bit heavier in a Carrera 4. If I'm honest, it's not something that I've ever really bothered with. They're a very comfortable car. There's plenty of room. You've got a big boot. You've got 4 seats. As an overall package, they are very, very difficult to beat. And I think there's a reason why people, when they buy a 911, they will go from 911 to 911 to 911 to 911, because when you've had one, they are very, very difficult to go and replace. There's few cars in this market which can do what they do. So moving on to the interior of this 991 911, the first thing that you will notice, I know I go on about it a little bit, but I am quite tall at 6'3", 6'3" and a bit. I actually have room, which is, for a sports car, it's quite a thing. A Lamborghini Huracan, I don't fit in. I tend not to like them because I can't get in them. The Ferraris aren't as bad, but a 911, you really have got the most amount of space in this car. You can see out of it. It generally is a car that you can use every single day, which is pretty impressive. if you know much about Porsche, one thing that you will know is that Porsche love an extra. Almost every single thing in this car is tailored to what you want. So each car is always very, very different. Some have tons and tons of spec, some have very, very little, and it really just depends on the specific car. So when you're looking through an advert, make sure that the things that you want are listed in there. So things on this car which have been added above and beyond are things like PASM. So one other thing Porsche really likes is an acronym. So there's plenty of acronyms in this car. So PCM, so for the sat nav, they come in different variants. The 997, 996s. They've every year with Porsche they improve their internal navigation systems and multimedia. So this one, you've got Bluetooth audio, it's all touchscreen, it's very, very easy to use, it's very, very simple. And then moving down the dashboard, obviously things like climate control. This car's got heated seats, it's also got cooled seats, which again, you probably won't find on many, but this has been added on this particular car as an extra. You've then, going down the centre of the dashboard, you have these buttons. Some are blanked out. Each one usually represents an added extra that a car has or hasn't got. So things on this one: sports exhaust. You've got Porsche Active Stability Management, or PASM, which is a little bit of a mouthful. This car's got automatic lights. It's got the Bose stereo. Now, one thing that you'll hear Porsche people go on and on about is Sport Chrono. So Sport Chrono, the easiest way to find out whether the car has got Sport Chrono or not is this little clock. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but I'm sure Joel will do a beautiful panning shot of the clock. Now, Porsche people will tell you that it's for timing their laps. Something that I know a lot of people use it for is timing how long it takes them to get to work in the morning and then trying to beat that time, obviously sticking within the speed limits because we won't get into any trouble for that. There's also in this car, you can probably see there's aluminium for the American people that are watching. I'm sure there's not very many, but aluminium inserts. We've also got coloured inserts, which will remind you that your car is bright yellow, which I'm sure you would already know. It's a good spec. There's plenty of stuff on it. You also get things like crests, so Porsche crests on the headrest. This car hasn't got that, but some do. You can literally go to town when you're sat in the Porsche dealer. I think a lot of people get very, very excited and they sit there ticking boxes and then end up with a very large bill at the end of it. So yeah, when you're going to buy your used 911, make sure to check that the car has got things that you want. Some of the newer 911s, they come with Burmester stereos, which are absolutely amazing, which again depends if you like listening to music or not. This one is fitted with Bose, which I think is very, very good. The normal unupgraded Porsche stereo is also very, very good. But yeah, from an internal perspective, from an ergonomic perspective, the car, there is plenty of space for even somebody who's quite tall. My cousin Matthew, who is even taller than I am, I think he's about 6'5", he's got a 911 and it's one of the very, very few cars that you can actually fit in. There are 2 seats behind me. Obviously when I'm driving there's probably not a huge amount of space, but one thing you can do if you're driving a short journey, obviously bring the seat forward. I have had my little one sat in the back of a 911, so it can be done. To sit 4 adults in it would probably be unrealistic, depending on obviously their size, but for kids you can certainly get kids in the back with not really any problem. You probably won't want to travel far because the seats, they're not the most comfortable seats in the world. It's probably the best way and most diplomatic way I can put it. But yeah, in terms of options and extras, go through, make sure the car's got what you want. This one has got plenty of bits and bobs added. They'll all be listed on our website. And then yeah, if it's a car you're interested in, please let us know.